Right, in today's job, I'm going to be changing over plate heat exchanger. It's already had a new diverter valve. I'm going to also be swapping over the pressure sensor because that looks like it's the original one, and also going to be upgrading the flow and return pipes from the hose connections to the full copper ones, and also the PRV is going to be swapped over as well. Right, so the boiler's drained out. Probably going to do the plate first, so make sure you isolate your return, your cold, your flow. Open up a hot tap to relieve any excess pressure from the cold mains, and then plate is literally 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. Old one off, new one on. We'll start with that first. Alright, that's the 4 screws undone, and now all I literally do is tip the plate down towards you so you don't get anything spilling out. And there we go, that's the plate out. And you can just tip that into the sink, all the excess water will come out and you're left with a nice dry support bracket. Right, now this plate is blocked, but it doesn't look as blocked as I expected it to be. So what I'll probably do is I'll take this home, I'll give it a clean out with some spirits or salts and keep it on my van as a sort of like a refurb part. So in case I go to another Vaillant job and they've got a block plate which is like completely blocked, that you can't even clean it out, or if they don't want to spend the money or if they can't afford to put a new plate in, I can give them the option of a refurb plate which I've cleaned out, obviously at a cheaper cost. If it does the job, it gets them out of trouble for short term, then at least it's a bit of a solution for them. That's the old pressure sensor out. That's definitely due a change. Before I put the new plate in, I'm thinking I'm just going to take out the flow and returns. Probably might help me out having the plate off, might get a little bit more space to get my hand onto that flow pipe when it comes to getting it back in as well. Okay, so the return side's disconnected there. I've taken out the clip for the flow side there. Taken off the clips for the flow and return on the primary heat exchanger. Now you want to be very careful when you're taking these out and pushing the new ones in, because this plastic is known to crack and split, and if that goes, it means a whole new main heat exchanger, which you really don't want. So be very gentle in teasing both of them out the main heat exchanger. Grease it up nicely when putting the new ones in as well to prevent any form of cracking. Alright, I normally take it out from the main heat exchanger side first because you've got a bit of flex on the rubber hose there, so you can wiggle it, tease it down. Just make sure you don't try not to crunch that rubber too much, otherwise all the muck in there will make its way down into the canoe filter there and then block up all around there. Same with the return side, pop that down there. That's where disconnected, and then you've got the flex with the rubber hose to pull the whole thing out. Right, so they're both out of there. Now you can see that flow side would have been sitting like that, but that's been leaking behind, so you wouldn't have been able to see it. You can see the staining. What I've done is I've actually split both these open just so you can see what it's like inside. Now all that stuff, if I crunch that, that will all come out of there. Now imagine all of that, when you squeeze it or anything, it's going to go into there and block it all up. So that's why these rubber hoses, they're not very good, because they get blocked up and full of crap. Get rid of the rubbers, keep the copper as scrap. We're going to be replacing it with the full copper conversion kit anyway. Right, getting the return pipe back around there is more fiddly than getting the old one out, because now you got a full bit of copper. So I managed to take it over the gas pipe around there, wiggle it, undone the expansion vessel connection so I can wiggle that pipe a bit, and then get this to hook round and behind. Now I've got it into position, I can put the O-ring on there, put it into the pump there, put that side into the main heat exchanger, and then we can deal with the flow side. Alright, return side's all done, expansion vessel connection's done, pump connection's done, that's all in, that's clipped in there. These come with a blank up there because on the new Vaillants the pressure sensor would go there, and that there will be blanked off. Also, when putting the NTCs back, if you're not sure which was the flow and which was the return, always remember that on the flow it should be red because it's hot going out, and the return is coming back cooler, so the blue will be for the return side. Alright, let's get the flow one in now. Right, so the new flow copper connection, it comes as a slip joint. So this doesn't matter whether it goes around like that or it's like that. The orientation is exactly the same. But what happens is this will go into the bottom part there, and you can push it all the way down and slide it up. So what that does is when you get it into there, you can pop the bottom side in first, have that slid down. You can then get it into position and then pop it straight into the main heat exchanger connection. Right, that's all greased up. There's a slip coupling, the slip joint there. You want to get the bottom connection in first because that's the one that can be a real bastard to get in. If it doesn't go in, it will leak. You want to push it in, get the clip in, and then give it a good tug to make sure that it has actually gone in, because it will just pop out if it hasn't. So let's get that in first. That would explain why I couldn't get it in. I hadn't taken the old O-ring out of there. Right, flow side is on now. What I did find is having the plate off does actually help a lot. So even if you're doing this and you don't need to change the plate, take it off. It takes, what, 2 minutes to take the plate off. But you can then get your hand where the plate would be and pull that pipe. So it gives you a bit more space there rather than trying to get your hand around the side of the gas tube there and then trying to just push it in from there. So I'd advise just taking the plate off just for the sake of it. But yeah, that's all done. Going to put the new plate back on. New pressure sensors in as well. I'm going to check the PRV if it needs changing. If not, then it will stay in the box. Safe to say that PRV definitely needs changing. That, wow, I'm going to have to change the whole body there. That is completely blocked up. Right, that's all filled up. Looks like we're going to need that replacing. That's going to have to be booked in, but other than that, we're all good. The main thing is we've got no leaks coming off of there. So now that we haven't cracked the main heat exchanger, that connection's all good. Pressure sensor connection's all good. PRV's all good. Just purging it now. We should be good to go. Right, just to let you guys know, after I've done all that work, the diverter valve head wasn't moving. So that's a new diverter valve. I got another one out the van and I swapped the motorized head round to see if the spindle was moving in and out, and it still wasn't. So the only thing it could be, I thought maybe it was a faulty new one out the box. So when I swapped it over for a new one, it was still doing the same thing. The only thing that it could have been is a faulty PCB. Change the board over, diverter spindle starts moving, and we've now got exactly what we need. When running hot water, there's no heat going down the flow pipe. And when I'm running hot water and I swap my probes around, I was getting delta 38 degrees roughly between cold and hot. So job done. Now we can finally move on to the next one.